You're watching Dukascopy TV. I'm Elaine Stenson and I'm joined in the studio now by independent market strategist Bruno Estier. He's here with me now to discuss the technical aspects of the market. Bruno, you're very welcome. Now, the last time you mentioned the rising price of fear and the topping pattern for the SP 500. Now, the SP 500 has declined the last 4 days in a row and some are saying it could crash. Do you think that this could happen?
Oh, I think a crash, no, but a decline, yes. If we see what has happened, last week we were there, we have moved below this congestion. We have spoken about the VIX, which was moving up, expected to move up. It has indeed increased by about 20%. And this is one or two outpaths possible for the coming 2 months. Of course, things don't go exactly as forecasted with these indications here, but basically what we have is either we are close to the end of the first down leg in the area of 1640, 1620, okay, and we are able to rebound a little bit, but we will probably not move back above the key level that was broken last week, which was 1680. And then it moved a second time down, at least a second time. Sometimes it moved even a third time down, like we have mentioned here, or longer, depending on the evolution of the market.
So your outlook remains bearish for the medium term. What about Europe and its outperformance versus the US markets over the last 3 weeks?
Well, this is a very good question, because if we look back for the last 2.5 years, what we have is on the top part of the panel here, the relative strength line of Europe versus the US. As this ratio was moving down, that means that Europe was underperforming the US, except very closely here since July. This ratio is moving up a little bit. It's moving up, but from a low base, and it's hitting some of these long-term blue lines. That means that its outperformance, which has just been recent for the last 3 weeks, could eventually stop, but we are not sure yet. What does it mean then for the index itself? The index itself was, of course, much late compared to the S&P 500. We are, as we noticed here in July, much lower than the April high that we have passed already in May on the S&P. So Europe was lagging. This catch-up of performance is probably going to be capped by this red line, not because it is a magical line, but just because it represents levels in July of 2011 where people have been selling or forgot to sell, and they have a second chance to sell. So that's the way this red line can act as a ceiling on the market. And also, if we look back down there on the weekly charts, we notice now that the momentum oscillator is kind of toppy. So we could have a pullback. How far the pullback, right? We could maybe look at the short-term charts. And there we notice that this very linear, nice upward channel is now being tested. Right, this level of 28, 25, and if we have one or two close below that, we probably move much lower direction, 27, 25. So from 28, 25 to 27, 25. And we see here we have this divergence on the oscillators showing that the new high on the price is not confirmed by the acceleration, if you wish, and that usually implies a further correction.
And is there some hope to gather on the emerging market side?
Well, it's possible, but it's not sure. Why? Your question is very accurate in the sense that recently the market has noticed that the black line that we have here on the top of the panel, the copper price, has stopped declining. And especially in the last months or last 3 weeks, it is moving up. When copper moves up, it's called in the technical word Dr. Copper. Dr. Copper because he has a PhD in economics. In other words, the copper is a leading indicator of what happened on the economic front. If there is demand for copper, there is demand for construction, there is demand from China. And that's what some people hope it could help cushion a decline in market. Or in other words, they hope that because copper could be rebound, any small decline that we have currently in the markets are going to be small. But we need a confirmation here, because if we look attentively on the detail on the short-term charts, we notice that copper has reached a previous ceiling, which was a floor in the past. And therefore, at this time, it is not sure that the world will be saved right away. It will take some more time, maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or maybe 2 months.
Bruno, thanks for that, and thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome.
And that's all we have time for now, but do check back later for further updates and interviews from the Dukascopy TV team. Bye for now.